Hi, we're in my office, just outside of my office, looking at Center Block. You can see Center Block in the background, and it is almost April 1st, and just like in Thunder Bay in Ottawa, it's a bit of a cruel April 1st joke, I think, that we're still looking at winter here when it should be spring. But one of the reasons why we're doing this inside instead of outside. But it's wonderful to have this opportunity to chat with you. Paul Morley is putting this together, and really what he suggested is that I chat about maybe some things that people don't really know or think about the job that we do here. So there are two parts to the job, of course. We have riding work, we have constituency work, and we have our work here in Ottawa. And let me first of all say that the hours are long here, but the hours are long partly because a lot of the stuff is routine that we do. For example, I will be going very shortly, less than half an hour, over to the house. I'm on duty today, and duty means that you get involved with debates and so on, but it also means that you need to be there, so the governing party in this case doesn't try any tricks and that sort of thing. So you need to be in the house. So it's one of those days that I'll be in there until at least 2:30, and it's part of the job that I think MPs don't usually talk about, which is it's a little routine at times. The other part of the work I do here is a lot of it is constituency work that I do here in Ottawa for constituents, and so spend a lot of time on the phone. I spend a lot of time putting letters together to ministers on behalf of constituents, and of course my work with Veterans Affairs, which is my committee. And I don't have to tell you, I guess, that Veterans Affairs and what's going on in Veterans Affairs and with the minister is pretty front and center right now. And there seems to be a basic argument right now between the government, which doesn't believe it has a social contract with veterans, and veterans who say, you know what, a veteran is a veteran and a veteran. And one of the things we talked about at Veterans Affairs last night was the fact that regular force personnel, when it comes to Veterans Affairs, are treated differently than reservists. And it seems to me that if you're a veteran of Afghanistan, whether you were a reservist or whether you were regular forces, and you lose a leg, I don't see why you should be treated differently. And so, those are the things we're working out with the new Veterans Charter. I have to say that by and large, we're getting along fine. We don't have some of the other problems that other committees have with people not getting along. We try to do as much as we can with consensus. We have a chair who is a conservative, but a chair who is fairly reasonable, keeps things going, and we have pretty good discussions back and forth. So it's a committee that works, and when it comes to the Veterans Charter, which we're going to be looking at till probably until May, and hearing lots and lots of witnesses. We're all on the same page. We're all on the same page that this is a living document, the Charter, and it's our job to periodically make it better. It's a good job. I believe that it's an important job. It is a frustrating job. This is a very frustrating government that we're dealing with right now. They're not interested in collaboration. They're not interested in hearing what opposition members, whether it's from the Liberal Party or from the NDP, they just forge ahead. And so as a result, I don't think that this government is coming out with the best legislation that it possibly could. A good example is we have a couple of pieces of legislation in the courts right now. They'll pass the legislation because they can, because they're a majority government. And then even though we have warned them that, this is going to be a charter challenge. Don't do this. Let's get it right the first time instead of having to change it later. they forge ahead regardless. And so it's frustrating that the legislation can't move at the pace that it needs to move to get things done on a regular basis. And you know, the other thing that I was thinking about this morning as I'm walking here to my office, and I'm thinking that you know, one of the problems with governments is that and I'm thinking about money right now, about the economy. One of the things about governments is they lose sight. By the time the first budget comes in a government, they have lost sight of who that money belongs to. They have lost sight that the money belongs to all the taxpayers, in a federal case, you know, taxpayers of Canada. They've lost sight that their job is to redistribute these taxes for the benefit of all Canadians. That's essentially what we should be doing. But by the time the first budget comes, they think the money belongs to them. We see it federally. We see it with Kathleen Wynne and Dalton McGuinty. You know, they're no different. You know, we now in the news right now, near the end of March in 2014, you know, the gas plant scandal in Ontario is heating up again. So you spend over $1 billion for a couple of votes. That 1.2, I guess, billion dollars, and I'm sort of following this story because it's a very interesting story, because it highlights the way governments think. So this $1.2 billion, which was paid freely by the people who live in Ontario, has been used for completely partisan political purposes, and it's been wasted. And so I guess that sort of highlights my point that it's one of the frustrations here, is that governments lose sight of who that money belongs to, and it's a frustrating thing. Let me just say something quickly about the Unfair Elections Act, because it's an act where it looks like, at least the latest sort of figure from those who are close to elections and how they work, you know, if this passes without any amendments, there will be 520,000 Canadians who are disenfranchised and may not be able to vote in the next election. And these are electors who very often do not support the Conservative Party. And so here you have a situation where the government is trying to fix Elections Canada, but they're fixing it to their own advantage. And that's the other thing that's very frustrating here, is that it's always political advantage. It's always looking forward, you know, to the next election. How can I make sure I get these voters? How can I make sure, you know, that we win government again? Instead of waking up every morning and saying, let's do something really good for all Canadians today, as we do when we start every day in the House of Commons. You know, the Speaker will say, I don't know exactly what he says, but, you know, guide our deliberations. Can we, you know, so we do the best for everybody in Canada. But right after the Speaker finishes saying that at the beginning of the day, it seems to be forgotten by everybody. But you know, I don't want to be negative about it, because we do move ahead, and I am excited, as I said, about my work with Veterans Affairs. I think we're going to do some very good things with our readjustment of the Veterans Charter, and do some good things for veterans. And so I'm very, very happy about that. I'm very pleased about that. Thank you for sitting through this. Thanks. Bye-bye.